bring in policies too, for sure.
If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they take permission from the
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
Good morning and welcome to another beautiful weekend right here. It is Saturday, the first day of March 2025. Happy New Month to every one of you. I'm so excited that we are able to move from February to March. Well, this is the third month of the year. How have you been? How are you faring? What's happening? I believe everyone is doing well because the economy, most times people complain about the economy, but then I think the most important thing is the fact that Nigerians have developed the wherewithal to be able to surmount a lot of things, and that's commendable. Congratulations to everyone who made it to the third month of 2025. Happy New Month to all our viewers out there in Nigeria and around the world. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course this is Global Morning, the weekend edition of it. On Global Morning today we'll be looking at the national dailies. What are the papers saying? Then we will have a conversation. Today we are just going to have one conversation, and we are having an expert join us as we talk about the most trending issue right now from the National Assembly to other parts of the world. Well, in River State, the court judgment is taking another turn altogether. Then you go to Lagos State. The assembly issue is still going on, but then to Benue State, the removal of the chief judge, it's still on. So many things happening in Nigeria, but then that wouldn't distract us from the main cause, and that is how we can better the economy of the nation. All right, we'll go on a quick break. After this break, we will return, and it will be time for us to look at the national dailies for today. You don't have to go anywhere. Stay with us as we bring you the top big stories on newspaper review this morning.
That global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Global Morning, the weekend edition right here, and we want to look at the national dailies. What are the papers saying this morning? Well, it's a new month, and you should expect something different today. As a matter of fact, beginning from the first national daily that we have right here is the Saturday Times. What is the Saturday Times saying this morning? Above the nameplate, this one says Supreme Court sack Rivers local government chairman, stops CBN. A gulf from releasing monthly allocation. Details read on page 17. Lagos speakership crisis, that's the kicker. Tinubu's silence, not golden. This is coming from Atiku Abubakar. Said Tinubu's silence is not golden. In some of the papers, you have them say different things about the president's silence. But then, is the president really silent? Sometimes the president could be making moves that might not be in the national dailies. It might not be on the social media, but then Lagos means so much to the president. You can remember how he got started as a politician. So Lagos is one of his very dear state, as the case may be. Now this one says 2027 is the kicker. APC will unite to regain total control of FCT. This is coming from Minister. The minister says 2027 APC will unite to regain total control of FCT. Minister is the one saying this. Which minister is really saying that? Is it the minister of FCT, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party and working under the administration of APC? It may not be him talking right here. So if you want to know the minister that has made this statement, pick a copy of the Saturday Times, I beg your pardon, and go through it. Now to the big story on the Saturday Times. The big story says that Tinubu signs a 54.99 trillion naira 2025 budget into law. Well, I think of this for some persons is long overdue, but then I think the president know the right time to do certain things, so I'm not even surprised at all. And now this one says NSITF records 22,350 claims in 2024, covers 7.6 million employees. Details read on page 16. Two to die by hanging for abduction, murder in Jigawa State. I take that again. 2 to die by hanging for abduction and murder in Jigawa State. I think this is one of the ways this thing should be done, according to what some Nigerians are saying, that if anyone is found guilty, especially when it has to do with abducting people, collecting ransom, and at the end of the day, taking their lives, then the other ones, they just finish people's lives without considering anything. Well, I don't know if it is the court that passed the judgment for them to be hung, but then I think penalties are good for people who carry out this kind of dastardly act. Moving away from there, Regina Daniels from the world of entertainment. Regina Daniels erases Ned Nwoko from IG amid split rumor. Regina Daniels, that's from the world of entertainment. For everyone who is an entertainment freak, a lot of people have been following the divorce rumor and of course the pregnancy rumor, but then a lot have been said. All the reactions are coming from Regina Daniels. Nigerians are yet to hear from Ned Nwoko himself, the senator himself. Then of course, the lady in the mix, Chika Ike, have actually said the pregnancy is not from Ned Nwoko. All those are media rumbles. Well, the details will soon be disclosed, but right here, Regina Daniels is also at the middle of the storm. She has erased Ned Nwoko from IG amid split rumor. Is that going to be a divorce? What number of wife is she? Is she number 1, 2, 3, 4? I don't know. But then you can carry out that research for yourself. All right, this one says a troop capture notorious kidnapper, terrorist in Plateau State. Details read on page 17. And finally, from here, Naira dips at FX market closes at 1,500 Naira to $1. All right, I think what Nigerians are really looking for right now is when the exchange rate will be stable, because a lot of people take advantage of situations and do whatever they want to do in this country. And it's so unfortunate that when the price of commodities go up, it never comes down anymore. It doesn't come down anymore, and that's not the best. Now to the Blueprint newspaper, Blueprint Weekend, the unforgotten hero. All right. This one says frequent Lassa fever outbreak. That's the big story. Experts, NCDC advise citizens on preventive measure. Then some riders to that story. And the first rider says a surveillance system needed to tackle reported cases. This is coming from Don. Then this one says the federal government should implement more policies to combat menace. Dr. Oko is the one saying that. Then the last rider to that story says we've enhanced surveillance, contact tracing in affected areas. This is coming from NCDC. More headlines from the Blueprint Weekend. This one says domestic equity closes higher, gains 91 billion naira. Rivers crisis, that's the kicker. Supreme Court nullify Rivers local government polls, restore Amawele as speaker. This one says Senator Mustafa promoting Tinubu's agriculture, food security agenda. Barao Quarry, all right, is the one saying that. Then this one says Ramadan, that's the kicker. Tinubu wishes Muslim faithfuls a spiritual fulfillment as fasting begins today, Saturday, the first day of March 2025. Trump's book close on AIDS for HIV drugs. Others, how Nigeria can cope. I think this is pathetic to an extent, but then how is Nigeria going to cope? I think the federal government should rise to the occasion and do the needful. Moving away from there, let's quickly go to the next paper, which is the Saturday Punch. I'm beginning from the big story. Lagos Speaker is the rider to that story. Battle shift to court as assembly. Obasa face off the FICE resolution. Two riders to that story, and the first rider says lawyers clash in court. GAC loses control. The second rider says security operatives take over assembly. All right, more headlines. Tinubu Sultan seek prayers as Ramadan begins today. Then this one says reinstated lawmaker Wike's camp mocks Fubara over judgment, cancel local government polls. One rider to that story, minister tackles governor, holds Thanksgiving service. Wow. All right. This one says I think all right, let's get to the last one of the papers this morning. President approves 54.99 trillion naira 2024 budget, heals government's progress. All right, then this one is going to be the last. Wife defend Akpabio after Natasha accuses Senate President of sexual harassment. Is going to form part of our discussion today. All right, right here we still have some other papers. The Nation's newspaper this morning, above the nameplate, Tinubu signs a 54.99 trillion naira 2025 budget into law. One rider to that story. And the writer says economic reform have achieved the impossible, right? Akpabio wife tackle Natasha over sexual harassment. All right, then some riders to that story. My trouble started after I refused his advances. Kogi Senator alleges. The Senate President's wife rallies to Hobby's defense, threatening litigation. Then the last rider to that story says my seat has been moved 4 times. Kingibe faults Akpabio. Okay, Akpoti or Dragon. All right. Okay, that's Kingibe. That's the senator representing the good people of FCT. All right, this one says Supreme Court judgment. Jubilant Wike storms Rivers, Fubara Camp, Sobre. All right, minister says era of impunity over in Rivers State. That's one of the riders. The second rider says Apex Court recognizes pro-Wike lawmakers. Then restrain CBN, AGF from releasing state's allocation. Annuls recent local government's election. We will do what's best for Rivers, says state government. Then finally from here, EFCC arraigned ex-Abia governor Orji's son. Order over alleged 60.85 billion naira fraud. When did they see this money? This is Nigeria for you. When others are crying, looking for what to eat, some other persons are embarking on fraudulent ads, running into billions right here. Why some people are looking for just 1 square meal? I don't know what has happened to the conscience of some people in governance, not all, because the conscience of some persons in governance it appears as if they don't even have conscience at all. How would you be running away, cutting away with this big amount of money? What for? Just for you? Just for you. For how long would we continue like this? Well, that's the size of the headlines from the nation's newspaper this morning. And right now, Weekend Trust says 23 days after General Siga remains in captivity. Then just one rider to that story. The big story is 23 days after General Siga remains in captivity. Then the rider to that story says as bandits intensify attack on Katsina community, target council chairman, businessmen. All right. Then this one says the Supreme Court stops Rivers allocation. Recognize pro-Wike lawmaker. Details read on page 21. Fuel scarcity looms as ban on 60,000 litre truck takes effect today. Fuel scarcity looms as ban on 60,000 litre trucks takes effect today. Remember, after the numerous explosions, there was a ban on 60,000 litre trucks, because this has caused a lot of problem to Nigerians. Lives have been lost, even though the problem is not just from the truck drivers alone. The people involved who out of greed go cut away spilling fuel have also contributed to the incidences. But then this ban may result to fuel scarcity, because the movement of this product is going to be reduced somehow if these people are really being banned. Now, another big story from the Weekend Trust. Lagos Assembly crisis may jolt Tinubu's 2027 bid. 2027 bid. Lagos Assembly crisis may jolt Tinubu's 2027 bill. And you have the picture of Abbas arrived there with a picture of the president's Ahmed Bola Tinubu at the middle, and that of Miranda the third. The three of them have their picture right there. Then this one says Natasha Akpabio trade words over sexual harassment claim. Details read on page 21. This is making round. As a matter of fact, Natasha has been on one very popular TV station in Nigeria to make this claim, and of course a lot of people have been reacting to it. Now we are waiting for what is going to be the outcome. Would the Senate President actually do the defense? Because I heard that the wife has already reacted and threatening litigation. But then what about the Senate President? Well, I think it's going to be what we will be discussing on the program this morning. Denson finally says President signs 54.99 trillion naira 2025 budget. Then the last paper that I have here is the Guardian newspaper. Before we get into the conversation this morning, confusion, controversy recloud selection of Admiralty University Vice Chancellor. Pro-Chancellor Registrar announces different Vice Chancellors. Second rider says nothing like most qualified candidate after shortlisting, says Registrar. Then Reason says Jibrin Kwari applauds Senator Mustafa for promoting Tinubu's agriculture food security agenda. Sultan declares Saturday, March 1st as commencement of Ramadan in Nigeria. Then Reason says Akpabio Natasha face off goes dirty as allegation of sexual harassment emerges. Well, this is not a good one for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And you know, this era of social media, stories can fly. This one says Wike Fubara react as Supreme Court invalidate Rivers local government election. Local government autonomy, why local council must breathe. All right, this is more like a future story. Then I think finally from here, this one says as Nigeria's democracy has lost its majesty. That's another future story right there. Let's go on a quick break. This is going to be the size of the National Dailies, the newspaper review for this morning. The conversation is going to be around the rumble at the National Assembly. As a matter of fact, Natasha and of course the Senate President Godswill Akpabio's sexual harassment claims and the next way forward. A lot of matters are rising from that situation, and we will look at it. Who is right? Who is wrong? Can you say anyone is right or wrong? Except investigation is being done. Not just investigation, but proper intensive investigation, because evidence sometimes is the end of every argument. So we will be having an expert join us as we do that discussion this morning. Stay with us.
That global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Global Morning live on your screen. This is the first day of March, and of course, we have gone through the national dailies, bringing you to speed with the news and current affairs. And right now, we're going into the discussion for the day. As a matter of fact, the Senate Rumble is taking over the social media, the internet, and everywhere. Everywhere you go, you hear people talk about it. Now, who can you say it's wrong? Who can you say it's right? How much research has been done? What about the investigation, which is very important? Because sometimes you can't hear from one person and pass judgment. Natasha, of course, has been in the media space to actually defend her actions, and of course she's making it feel as though she has endured so much, and she couldn't keep it again, and she had to voice out. All right, we're looking at the Senate Rumble on packing Akpabio, Akpotio Graham's feud. Now the guest that will be joining me is Ikenga Prince Ezemo. He's a political philosopher and, of course, public affairs analyst, and he's joining me on the conversation this morning. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning, Ikenga.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Good morning, Nigerians. I'm so sorry I couldn't join you in the studio. I am talking from Kaduna, where I went for my postgraduate studies. I couldn't make it to Abuja this morning. Thank you.
Okay. It's so good that you have to make efforts to join us via Zoom. He's actually joining us via Zoom from Kaduna State right now. He's supposed to be with us in the studio, but as a matter of fact, he couldn't make it, so we are connecting via Zoom. All right, let's look at the field. The sexual harassment allegation being made by the senator representing the people of Kogi Central, talking about Natasha Akpoti. What would you have to make of it?
Well, thank you, my brother. I think distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti is simply being her type of woman. Women in sometimes and somehow usually are unnecessarily quite dramatic. Look, we have to estray this thing from various point of views. First of all, what we Nigerians know was that the whole thing started when she was asked to move from a particular seat to another. You see, Nigerians are very emotional people, and certainly Igbo people will say that a woman will tell the husband those she rejected, but will not tell the husband those she accepted. Now, she was asked to move from a particular seat to another, and according to the account of her fellow woman in the Senate, distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe, who is representing Abuja Municipal, you see that the woman made it very clear that a senator being asked to move from her seat to another has no intimidating implication. It is part of the rule of the Senate. And what happened was that a particular senator defected from PDP to APC, and I think that was the distinguished Senator Ned Nwoku. And according to the Senate rule, the seating arrangement must be adjusted. These are issues. These are facts that are on ground. Now, why was she making her own decision to be so dramatic? And again, let us understand that it is not even the duty of the Senate President to allocate seats for the distinguished senator. It is the duty of the clerk of the Senate. And before Senate reconvened that morning, the clerk of the Senate had already moved Senator Natasha. Her name has already been moved from where it was to where it should be according to the clerk. The Senate President did not even notice that until a particular senator raised a point of order asking the Senate President to ask Senator Natasha Akpoti to go to her seat before she will be recognized to speak. That is part of the rule of the Senate, because you must speak from your own seat. And then we saw the drama that came up, when that was when the whole thing was going on. That forced the Senate President to ask her to leave the chamber since she was becoming very unruly. There's nothing gender about it. There's nothing intimidating about this. There's nothing that should be dramatic about it. But unfortunately, she chose to toe that line. Now, the Senate, we are still planning to look into it through their disciplinary committee, through their committees on privileges and all that. She went to Brekete. She said all that she said in Brekete, and again, Nigerians, we are with her because she's a woman, and a very fine woman at that. And because we are very emotional people in this part of the world, we always tilt towards women, and we always tilt towards somebody we feel that is being intimidated. Whether the person is manipulating the public or not, we don't critique and we don't question some of this. She moved from Brekete. Now she arrived in Arise TV a few days ago to say that the Senate President harassed her sexually, and that is why Senator Akpabio is trying to intimidate her and or whatnot. Now, let us look at what she said. According to her, the SP invited her and her husband and many other persons to his house in New York, in Ekotebene. And the wife of the SP has come out to say that the SP has no house in Ekotebene. Myself, I have been to SP's house in New York. I do not know of any of his houses in Ekotebene. I cannot vouch for that. But the wife of the man has said that the husband has no house in Ekotebene. Senator Natasha told us that she was in a house of the SP with her husband. From there, they moved, after touring the house, they moved to the house in Uyo. Good. Now, if you know Senator Akpabio, just like the wife said, he is always with a crowd of people. And you said yourself that you were walking with the SP, touring with the SP with your wife, touring the rooms, the sitting rooms, the house, the whatever in the compound. And your husband was with you, with the SP, walking behind. My brother, we all are African men. And to a very great extent, we behave alike. Which African man, in his right senses, that is not mad, will begin to chase a woman or begin to do whatever to a woman in the presence of her husband? And mind you that Chief Udara is not any but an elite.
Mr. Ikenga.
Yes.
I think Nigerians are listening, and there are some things we need to put very right so that will not make it looks like as if we're trying to maybe leave some on gray areas. Is it not possible, as a matter of fact, despite the fact that the Senate President always, like you said, move with a crowd of people, is it not possible for him to have some times when he will have to be alone or have private times? That's one. Then secondly, you talked about the fact that which man who is sane would want to talk to a woman in the presence of the husband. Well, like what Natasha said, Senator Natasha said, it's not a direct approach. It's not a direct asking out. But then the statement that she made was being interpreted to mean what she is actually claiming right now. But what she said is that the husband was right behind. I think it's possible for someone to whisper or talk when somebody is behind, depending on the distance. Don't you think that is possible?
Yeah, I am getting there. Apart from the husband being there or not being there, which man that has grown-up children, that has a powerful wife, will want to bring a woman in his family home for them to have good time, as insinuated and accused by distinguished Senator Natasha Udara? Which man, which African man will want to bring in another woman in his family home for them to have good time? A man that has grown-up children? A man that has a wife as powerful as Unoma Babio? My brother, these whole things are not adding up. They should rather tell us what the exact issues are, rather than coming to public to manipulate us and then blackmail Babio. And again, I must tell you that the Senate President, because in fact a lot of things are going on in Nigeria, and the best way to get at President Tinubu is to possibly remove Senator Akpabio. I doubt if the distinguished senator representing Kogi Central, Senator Natasha, in all due respect, has told us the whole story that is behind his fight with the SP. Are there people sponsoring her to possibly remove Akpabio so that they can easily get to Tinubu, as people are really speculating? Because if it is about the story she's telling us, my brother, it is not adding up. And if it is about telling her to move from her seat to another seat, it has been a case in National Assembly. It has nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with party where she belongs to. It has nothing to do with, whatever it is she believes in. It is purely part of Senate rule. And as an institution, the Senate is an institution. We must all, from the Senate President down to the least Nigeria, do everything possible to protect the integrity of that institution if our democracy must survive. We shouldn't rubbish it, and then we shouldn't try to make it look like a playground for children.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ikenga. Now, let me draw your attention to what happened on July 2020 with the acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, that is NCDC, that is Joy Nune, with claims of slapping Senator Akpabio for some sexual harassment. That was in 2020. So as soon as Natasha came up with this allegation, the mind of Nigerians went to that incident that happened in 2020. What would you have to say about that incident in 2020, correlating it with this allegation? And is it actually some form of formulation or emotional blackmail coming from two ladies against a very renowned person, a very known politician in Nigeria?
Well, I must be very honest with you. I've experienced Senator Godswill Akpabio. I've come in contact with him in a couple of occasions, and I can tell you that he's a man that jokes too much. Even in the National Assembly, even as the SP, you can agree with me. For instance, the day Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu was screened in the Senate, you can see the little play that went about, especially when Senator Ume was talking about Bianca and stuff like that. Akpabio said, please, remove her beauty from the discussion we are having in the Senate. And again, he said, don't touch my Bianca. What I'm trying to say is that Senator Godswill Akpabio plays a lot. Now, I was not there with them in 2020 to begin to analyze what happened and all that. But men must be very careful with certain kind of women. Otherwise, your white may be stained on Monday morning. Remember that distinguished Senator Natasha we are talking of has accused a couple of people, a couple of men, of the same thing. I know when this matter came up, it was yesterday, they talked about what happened between her and Renaud Mokere, what happened between her and the one they call White Horse, the former governor of Kogi, that's the Yahaya Bello, and all that. The bottom line, I must say, that men must be very, very careful, because the accused from women are usually, he has harassed me sexually. That is why this and that are happening. And again, at the end of the day, those things cannot be proved. For instance, what Natasha is telling us cannot be proved. In fact, herself said it is her own truth, which means she has already, even before telling us the story, has made it so subjective that it can never be proved in any court, even in any law, in any common sense room. So these are the issues.
All right. As it is right now, they said there is need for investigations to be done. Looking at the pedigree of the Senate President, this may not put Nigeria on a good light globally, because this is on social media and on the internet, and the world is a global village right now. Looking at all of this, don't you see or think that there is need for the Senate President himself to come up with a statement to either say one or two things to Nigerians? Because as it is right now, a lot of Nigerians are already believing what Natasha said, looking at what happened in 2020. And this is a political figure, a Senate President for that matter. Don't you think it is necessary for him to do a disclaimer or speak to Nigerians, as a matter of fact?
Yeah, I think that would be a right step in the right direction. Despite the fact that his wife has come up to say that this obviously is not correct because she was there with them serving people and all that, I think there is need for the Senate President to come up and clear himself. There's nothing like being big man about it. You know, in Nigeria we usually do big with everything and all that. We don't usually follow the life of simplicity. If it is in the Western world, maybe the Senate President might have addressed the press himself or just clear it. Like I said, Senator Natasha cannot prove anything about this. He cannot. Even the husband, according to her, did not even hear them. And when the man was asking her, what did the SP tell you? She refused to tell the husband until yesterday. You know, so she has no witness, she has no evidence, she has no proof. But like you rightly said, I think that the SP should address Nigerians, just clear himself, and he should understand that there are forces that want him out so that maybe the president of the nation will be properly checked, which is not bad. Of course, this is politics playing out, and it is allowed. So I agree with you 100%. He has to come up and clear himself by himself. He is the one that is being accused, and his wife is not in the Senate with them. There could be other things that they are not telling Nigerians. They need to come up and let us know.
Let me ask you a question. We're almost rounding up. You keep repeating this statement that it's as if there are some persons sponsoring Senator Natasha to do or say what she's saying, and you also climaxed it by saying some persons want to have access to the president or do something to the president. Does it mean the Senate president is stopping some Nigerians or some persons from carrying out certain assignments or duties or responsibilities with the president? Is he being a roadblock to some things that has to do with the Nigerian people, as a matter of fact? Because you've repeatedly made that statement.
Yeah. Yes, it may not be for the overall interest of Nigerian people. Politicians are doing their day. They are doing their business. Are you getting me? This country over time has been divided within the line of religion, within the line of tribes and all that. And the politicians are the big politicians, the elite politicians are the ones doing it for their own interest, as far as I'm concerned, not for the overall interest of the nation. If you watch the politics of National Assembly for some time now, you know that the North is not happy with the president. And the only way to get to the president is to remove Akpabio so that they will have, unhindered access to the president and to deal with him, possibly. So this is politics playing out. People? Yeah. He even himself has said it openly. Himself, Senator Akpabio, has said it openly that he is 100% behind the president, that when he was the governor,
when you say someone is behind the president and someone is hindering people from the president, it means two different things. When you're hindering people from their own president, it is not the best thing to do.
Hindering people within the perimeters of his powers as the Senate president. Now, what do I mean? It is only the Senate that can impeach the president. It is only the Senate that can put the president on his toes. It is only the president that can discomfort the president. Are you getting me? Legally and legitimately. Now, maybe Senator Akpabio, according to what he has said publicly, he's in good terms with the president. So, whatever that comes from the president, he must try to see the possibility of actualizing and using the institution of the Senate. That is part of Nigeria. That is part of the politics within the confines of the type of democracy we are practicing. Are you getting me now? If the Senate president, if Akpabio goes out of the way and they bring in somebody that will not want to see the president succeed, what do you think will happen to the president? Remember what the Senate was doing, Senator Saraki, and the first tenure of General Buhari.
Are you there?
Yes, I am here, sir.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So, I am not saying that the SP is hindering Nigerians from assessing the president or stuff like that. I am talking of the relationship between the institution of the Senate and the presidency. the institution of the legislature and the executive. That is what I'm saying. They have all it takes to deal with the president, either negatively or positively. And Akpabio, for now, as far as the current political structure is concerned, is working hand in hand with Asiwaju. So, people who are not comfortable with Asiwaju are doing everything possible to deal with Akpabio first. It is only through Akpabio that you get to Asiwaju.
Okay, it's only through Akpabio that you can get to Asiwaju. That may not be very clear to Nigerians when you say it is through Akpabio that you can get to Asiwaju, meaning Akpabio is more like a tool of the president. Is that what you're saying? Because some persons, remember, earlier there was this speculation by some Nigerians, all right, that there are some Senate presidents that are being used, all right, or maybe instated or meant to be Senate presidents so they can be used. Some Nigerians have that school of thought. Is that exactly the same school of thought that you are trying to portray right now?
With the kind of democracy we practice in Nigeria and with the type of people we are in this part of the world, there is no Nigerian president who will want to be in a different book with his Senate president. It doesn't matter who the president is or who the Senate president is. There is no Nigerian president who will not want to be in the same book with the Senate president of the nation. These are facts. Let us not pretend about it. So, Asiwaju, no doubt, must have been very, very instrumental to the emergence of Senator Akpabio as the Senate President. And he did it on purpose. He's not a Father Christmas to be making men here and there. He knew what he wanted and he went for it very intentionally. So, he would not want to have a Senate President that will not approve his budget, that will be questioning all his appointments and stuff like that. Remember, there is no appointment made by the president that will not be approved, especially certain level of appointment, ministerial appointments, heads of parastatal, and very strategic appointments. It must be approved by the Senate. Remember how the Senate was constantly fighting with General Buhari during the tenure of Senator Saraki as the Senate president. No president of the nation will want that kind of thing. Remember what was playing out during Obasanjo's time. You know, almost every 1 year there must be a change of senator because they were all having loggerhead with General Obasanjo. So no president will want to have that experience. That is why they intentionally fight for people that will become the Senate president so that there will be agreement between the two arms of government.
Oh, okay. Finally, before I let you go, Mr. Ikinga, from your explanation, if I can get exactly what you've said, it means there is no check and balance between the judiciary, executive, and the legislature in Nigeria. That's what you're trying to say, because you are saying the executive pick someone to be in charge of the legislatures so he can have his way. That's exactly what you're saying, meaning there is no more check and balance in the three arms of government anymore.
I didn't say that there is no checks and balances. And remember, I told you that because of the kind of politics we practice in this part of the world, I am one of those who believe so strongly that Nigerian constitution must be changed so that Nigeria will improve. With this present constitution, we may just be running around a vicious circle without serious improvement and development in Nigeria. And before we develop structurally as a nation, we must restructure our terms of engagement, which is the constitution of the nation. Are you getting me? Now, the constitution has allowed a lot of corruption to be happening in Nigeria. It will look as if the constitution is backing certain level of corruption. You know, that is why you see some of these things happening. The institution of the Senate is an institution that should be checkmating and guiding the executive. But in the real sense of it, is it happening? It is not about who is the president today and who is the Senate president today. No, it is about the structural deficit we are having in Nigeria as a nation. So, the Senate must continue to checkmate the executive. That is ideal. But is it happening really? And I tell you, until we do that, every president will want to have a Senate president that will be in the same book with him. Even if you become the president tomorrow, you will not want to have Dino Melaye as your Senate president, except you will be in the same book with him.
Thank you very much for being part of the conversation today, Ikenga. Well, as a matter of fact, we've had a very wonderful time talking about the Natasha and the Senate President's feud. The rumble at the National Assembly, and Ikenga has, of course, established some facts from a perspective, and Nigerians have different perspective to all of this. So on the final note now, Mr. Ikenga, what would you, because as we speak right now, a whole lot going on social media, so what would be your advice to Nigerians and of course the federal government, especially the senators, the National Assembly, and the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio?
I am pleading with all that, one of the problems we have in Nigeria is that most of our politicians, most of our political elites do not really have the interests of this country at heart. It is all about them, possibly their children and their immediate family. These people should sit up and understand that they are there for the overall interest of all of us in Nigeria. The countries they run to when they get sick, when they want to send their children to school and stuff like that, they know how to make Nigeria to look like those countries, but they intentionally do not want to do that. They should understand that nation building is something that you do so that it will live beyond you, to live after you.
All right.
I plead with all involved, the SP, the Senator Natasha, and all that, to forget whatever personal grudges they have and move Nigeria forward, for goodness sake. We shouldn't be discussing this when the whole country is hungry.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. We shouldn't be discussing this when the whole country is hungry. I think that's the bottom line for me, because Nigerians are hungry right now. Nigerians are waiting for when they can go to the market and come back with something substantial. Thank you for being part of the program. We hope to have you live in the studio some other time, Mr. Ikenga.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
All right, this is going to be the size of the discussion for this morning, but the bottom line is this. For how long do you think we should continue like this? People who are supposed to be legislators, the lawmakers, are the ones having issues. So how would governance go? That's the question. What will happen if the house is in disorder? House rising against itself, how would it ever stand? That's one of the problems right now. Like he said, finally, Nigerians are hungry. So until we take Nigerians' situation very seriously, I don't think anything better can happen, because being in governance is an opportunity for you to touch lives. It's an opportunity for you to be patriotic as a Nigerian. This is not time for fight. Everyone should shed their sword. Senator Natasha, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and every other person should make sure there is peace. Let there be peace so that we can all move Nigeria forward as a nation. Let's see how we can revamp the economy. Let's see how we can make sure Nigerians can be proud, be Nigerians, and the Japa syndrome is being reduced to the minimal level. As a matter of fact, when are we going to be having good health care system? When would our children be able to go to school and come out happy, getting jobs after school? What happens to the roads that we have? How much is fuel today? Yes, that's the basic question, because this translates into most of the things Nigerians are going through. If all of this is being handled, then we can say the problem of Nigeria is half solved, not totally solved yet, because corruption, banditry, insecurity has eaten deeply into the fabrics of the nation, and a lot of people are working tooth and nail to make sure all of this is annihilated, all of this is wiped out, so that the system can be clean again. It's a good way to get Nigeria on its feet, put Nigeria Nigeria on the global map. It's possible if you and I decide to do it. It's a possibility. Thank you very much for joining us on Global Morning today. This is the weekend edition. I will come on your way again tomorrow for another wonderful edition of Global Morning. Have a beautiful weekend, and once again, happy new month. Bye-bye for now. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Have a wonderful day.
Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle as to strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.